Hi guys, and welcome back to the Daily Racing Show here at RacePlazaMedia. My name is Milan, and today we're going to take a look at whether or not Kimi Antonelli is the real deal. In order to do that, we're going to take a look at his racing career. Even though he is only 17 years old, he has done a lot of racing in his life already. We're going to go through every single category that he has raced in, every single championship, and then at the end we're also going to do a little bit of a comparison to the current rookies on the F1 grid, and then after that I'll tell you guys what my opinion is about whether or not he should be on the F1 grid in 2025. Let's get into it. Before we're gonna get into Kimi Antonelli's racing career, for anyone tuning in that is unfamiliar with who Kimi Antonelli is a 17-year-old young gentleman from Italy, this guy right over here, and he is currently racing in Formula 2 for Prema Racing, and there is a lot of talks about him potentially joining Formula 1 grid next year in 2025. So if you have never heard of him, now we're going to get into his racing career thus far to take a look at how he has been doing, because I honestly had only ever heard the talks about him and how amazing this guy is. And of course, there was a lot of discourse online whether or not he is quote-unquote deserving or if he's ready for Formula 1. And then hopefully after that, you guys are able to not only get an idea of who he is, but also whether or not you think he should be on the F1 grid starting next year. Let's take a look at his karting career that he started at the young age of 7 years old. So he started back in 2014. He has won several championships along the way. Among those are the WSK Championship Cup, the WSK Supermaster Series, the WSK Euro Series, and he's also won the FIA Karting European Championship back-to-back in 2020 and 2021. Overall, he has participated in about 60 championships and racing or karting events, and he has landed on the top 41% of the time. So that is actually really impressive. 3 of those actually that he participated in, he was not classified for. I was trying to look where he landed overall, but I wasn't able to find the information, so I still count those in there. But 41% out of 60 events is actually really impressive to land on the top step. In the same year that he actually won the 2021 FIA Karting European Championship, he also joined the Formula 4 Italian Championship. However, he actually joined the championship much later into the season, meaning that he actually joined the championship in round 3 and thus had missed 12 races of the championship. If you're unfamiliar with Formula 4, Formula 4 actually does 3 races per race weekend or per round. So he had missed the first 4 rounds, which is 3 races each. However, even though he only joined in round 5, he still finished in the championship standing in 10th place out of 44 racers, which is incredible. However, I do want to be transparent. Out of those 44 participants, not every single one of them participated in all races. However, if you look at the graph or look at the stats, he still finished ahead of a lot of other people who participated in a lot of more races. He was able to clinch points in race 1 and race 3 of his first race weekend. He even finished on the podium in the first season. So very great results for him for just participating in less than half of the season. He overall ended the season with 54 points on the board. However, moving on from that, in 2022 he returned to the Formula 4 Italian Championship, this time from the very beginning, and he ended up winning 13 out of 22 races, which ended up also resulting in him winning the championship overall. At the end of the season, he had a 104 points gap to second place, with accumulating 362 points. Once again, incredibly impressive, a very dominant performance for him during the Italian F4 Championship. Also in 2022, he participated in the Formula 4 UAE Championship. However, just like in 2021 for the Formula 4 Italian Championship, he was not able to compete in all races. In fact, he participated in less than half. He still won several races, and he ended up finishing in 8th place in the overall championship, even though once again he missed over half of the season. He ended the season with 117 points on the board, with a gap of 138 points to P1, which it is a lot of points, but also if we think about, once again, he didn't participate in so many races. Again, very, very impressive. Besides Formula 4 UAE and the Italian Championship, he also participated in 2022 in the ADAC or ADAC Formula 4 Championship, where once again he showed an incredible dominant performance. He participated in 15 out of 18 races, and out of those 15 races he won 9, and only once he did not finish in the top 5. Really, really incredible. And he was also once again able to clinch the championship. He finished with 313 points at the end of the season, with a 47-point difference to P2. In case you're wondering, how are they able to participate in so many championships in 1 year? Usually Formula 4 is not structured around the same time. So Formula 4 UAE usually happens towards the beginning of the year. They usually race around the winter time. I believe it is due to weather conditions, and then you have other championships that happen throughout the year, and they're pretty spaced apart. So most of the time drivers are able to participate in multiple championships without it interfering. And the last thing that he also participated in Formula in 2022 was the Motorsports Game F4 Cup, where he was able to represent Team Italy. And once again, he won, and he actually ended up winning, even though he was driving with a broken wrist, which just underlines what an incredible year 2022 was for him in regards to racing. Moving on to 2023, Antonelli joined the FRECA Championship, also known as the Formula Regional Championship, where he finished on the top step 5 times and overall on the podium 11 times. And only 4 times he actually did not finish inside the top 5, which is again very, very impressive, which also meant that he won the FRECA Championship in 2023. He ended up finishing the championship with exactly 300 points on the board and a 39-point gap to P2. Now, what I also thought was really, really interesting, in my research I found out that he actually said in 2023 that he thought that he needed more experience to join before joining Formula 3, and then he did the wild thing and skipped Formula 3 altogether. He was like, yeah, I don't have enough experience for Formula 3, I'm just gonna go directly to Formula 2. So now that we arrived in 2024, he is, as I said, participating in the Formula 2 Championship. He's currently sitting, as of the recording of the video, in P9 of the championship with a total of 48 points on the board. However, we still have more than half of the season to go, so there's many, many changes that can still happen. In case you are unfamiliar with Formula 2, Formula 2 has every single race weekend that they do, has a sprint race and a full race. So unlike Formula 1, where there's occasionally a sprint race sprinkled in there, Formula 2 does it every single time they're racing. They're doing on Saturdays, they're doing a sprint race, and on Sunday, they're doing a full race. Kimi Antonelli so far has done consistently better during the full races, where he usually scores points. However, in the most recent race in Barcelona, he was not able to put points on the board in either the sprint race or the main race or full race. So now that we looked at Antonelli's racing career thus far, I did wanted to draw a comparison to the F1 quote-unquote rookies that we have on the grid at the moment. The 3 people we'll be taking a look at will be Logan Sargent, Zhou Guanyu, and Oscar Piastri. I want to talk about Oscar Piastri first because he stands out the most out of all 4 of them, I would say, because Oscar's racing career prior to F1 has also been incredibly impressive. He's one of the very few people who actually won F3 and F2 back-to-back, and in his rookie season, he won the F2 championship. And that's an incredible feat that not a lot of people have actually been able to do. And thus also probably explains his performance in F1 so far, because I would say Oscar is by far the best rookie that we have on the grid and probably the best one we've had in a while. Thus being said, also, of course, he is in a McLaren. The McLaren is incredibly fast at the moment, which is really, really exciting because that's really awesome to see them back towards the top. However, if we're going to look at the other two guys out there, Zhou Guanyu and Logan Sargent, Zhou Guanyu actually was never able to win an F2 championship. He participated in 3 of those. He finished in 7th, 6th, and 3rd place before making his move to F1. However, he did win an F3 championship in Asia back in 2021. Now, the one person that I'm going to take a look at a little bit more is Logan Sargent, because I think we all would all agree that he is probably the one he might be competing against the most, him being, of course, Kimi Antonelli. So Logan Sargent competed also in Formula 4 UAE in 2016, 2017, because once again, they race over the winter. And he finished overall in 2nd place, and he landed on the podium 15 out of 18 times, but he was actually never able to win a race, which is really, really unfortunate. He also competed in the British Formula 4 Championship, where he finished overall 3rd. And in the Formula Renault Championship in 2018, he finished in 4th place. He also, Logan Sargent also was never able to win a Formula 3 championship, but the closest he got to winning was in his 2nd year participating, where he finished 3rd overall. And that year, actually, Oscar Piastri was able to clinch the championship. In Formula 2, he finished overall 4th before making his move to Formula 1. The reason why I'm bringing all of that up is because a lot of people are saying that, you know, Kimi Antonelli is not really showing his moves, quote unquote, in F2. He's not really being as dominant as people think he should be before making that move to F1. And before I'm going to give you guys my opinion and what I think he should be or what should be happening, is I do want to say a few things that also the Mercedes team has said, because Kimi Antonelli, he's part of the Mercedes juniors team. So first of all, Toto Wolff also recently said in an interview that he thinks Mercedes is currently in a rebuilding phase. We're 3 years into the new regulation, and Mercedes is nowhere close on winning a world title. And I think chances are pretty slim that Mercedes will be winning a championship next year in 2025. I think for any Mercedes fan, it's tough, but that's really the truth. I don't think, even though we've in recent races seen the Mercedes doing a lot better, I don't think it is where it needs to be. And I would be very surprised if in 2025 they all of a sudden make such a jump or leap that they are overtaking, you know, the McLaren, which has been incredibly fast, and the Red Bull, because obviously those teams who already have a really, really fast team are developing to make that car even faster. So going into this video, I want to say I had very strong opinions on whether or not I thought Kimi Antonelli should be on the grid in 2025. I've said it multiple times actually on a live stream here that I thought that he was too inexperienced and his F2 performance is not as dominant as it needed to be for him to join the F1 grid next year. However, after doing all of my research, looking at what Toto Wolff said, him saying that he thinks Mercedes needs to do something else, that they are in a rebuilding phase, I think Kimi Antonelli should be on the grid next year. I think, first of all, we have a lot of people on the grid where I'm like, listen, you had your chance and you're not really showing your potential as needed. I'm not trying to single out Logan Sargent, but without being the biggest jerk in the world, I'm not sure if anyone would really miss if he would not be on the grid anymore. You know, he joined in 2021 or 2022. He joined the 2022. He joined the F1 grid, and he hasn't really shown a lot of potential. Yes, I understand that he is in a Williams, so it is incredibly difficult, but time and time again, he is making mistakes. And why I don't wish anyone, you know, not well or whatever, I'm just like, listen, give this kid a chance. You know, we had Liam Lawson, who was who did really great in his F2 season. He actually finished ahead of Sargent. He never got the chance to make it on the F1 grid because then someone else took the spot. And I'm like, let's get these rookies a spot in there. I think the modest choice and probably the smartest choice is, if you're going to give him a chance, is to put him in the Williams first, because even though I'm all about going all out, balls to the walls, and putting him in the Mercedes, I do believe that you might be risking a lot of points in the Constructors' Championship, which could cost literally Mercedes millions of dollars. So if you could maybe put an experienced driver in there for a 1-year term, you have Ocon, which that would be an interesting combination, Ocon and Russell. I think I would just want to see that too for, you know, the off-grid drama and on-grid drama. We all know how Ocon can be with his own teammates and potentially Russell. But, you know, I think the sensible choice would be to put him in the Williams, give him at least 1 year experience, and then if you feel like he's ready in 2026, the new regulations coming in, put him into the new car. I know that there's still talks about Max Verstappen and stuff like that, but all of this is just speculation, right? And I'm just all for it. There's, you know, once again, there's plenty of people where I'm like, listen, you had your chance, and it is a little bit frustrating that you're still on the grid. I'm looking at Lance Stroll specifically. You know, it's very unfortunate that your dad owns the team. I would love to see someone else in a more who's a lot more competitive in that Aston Martin together with Alonso. I think that would be really awesome. But I think put him on the grid, give him a year, maybe 2 years to adjust to F1. I think it will be, of course, it will be quite a difficult transition, but let's get these young guys in there. Let's give them a chance, you know. Let's stop, you know, hindering people from getting to F1 because there's only so many seats out there anyways. I don't know. I'm just all for giving rookies a chance. You know, I don't want to set him up for, you know, failure. But apparently he did 400 kilometers in the W12 Mercedes, which is the Mercedes car in the 2021 championship. That was, you know, a really great car. He did 500 kilometers on the Red Bull Ring, aka Spielberg, and that apparently went really great. Unfortunately, they don't release any of the data, so I wasn't able to look at that. But give the kid a chance, you know. That's all I have to say. Put him on the grid and let him race, you know. We hadn't seen Max Verstappen joining F1 at the age of 17, and I'm not saying that Kimi Antonelli is the next Max Verstappen, right? Those are big shoes to fill. I'm not saying he's the next Lewis Hamilton, right? Once again, very big shoes to fill. But he has shown that he's able to adapt quickly, joining seasons mid-season and still being quite dominant, you know. That's why I'm thinking, like, put him in the Williams, so it's not as bad if he, you know, struggles a little bit in the beginning. But hey, if they want to go all out, put him in the fucking Mercedes and let's go. Anyways, this is the end of the video. Now to wrap this up, thank you guys once again so much for tuning in. Get in the comments, let me know. Let's have a respectful, open dialogue about our opinions. And as always, like and subscribe. And I'll be seeing you guys here tomorrow at the Daily Racing Show for the F1 recap. Let's get into it, guys. Bye.